It is a deep pleasure to have served the last 6 months as a chair and getting to know Rabbi Mike the way I've gotten to know him. But a deep down appreciation, not only for JSU, but how they honor people coming from the past. Harvey Greenstein and Esther, may their soul rest in peace, have been dear friends of mine and Deanne's for over 50 years. We broke into Jewish communal life together with the Federation. It's a deep, deep, deep honor, okay, to see them honored tonight. As we broke into the Federation life and Jewish communal work back 50 years ago, the big thing was Jewish identity. It wasn't Jewish education, it was Jewish identity. So when I look at JSU, it's a combination of Jewish education, but it's really Jewish identity. It's developing who I really am as a Jew. How am I going to make it in this world as a Jew? How does Torah really help me make myself a better person? I want to welcome everybody for coming. I know this is a virtual. I know that it's difficult. I know that we've all seen many of these virtual functions. When it is over, we want to invite each and every one of you. We want you to reach out. We want to bring you to a club. We want to meet with you. We want to explain more about JSU and why JSU has had such an impact on our Jewish community. And it continues to have an impact beyond the Jewish community as these youngsters, these teenagers, develop into productive human beings, giving us a better way of life. Thank you again. Looking forward to seeing you in the future.
It's such a great blessing to be together to celebrate JSU's 18th annual gala. As a parent of 5 children that were nurtured as members of the JSU family, I can say without a doubt that the positive impact of the relationships developed with the JSU staff have been deep and meaningful. In fact, it's not unusual for Rabbi Rabinsky, Gershi, or Rabbi Stam to come up in family conversations. Although experiences and lessons learned may have felt small at the time, our children have reflected that the lessons were indeed quite impactful in college and beyond. As an educator, this is the outcome that we seek: experiential learning that influences in meaningful ways long after its initial impact. As parents, we taught that in order to be one's best self, it is imperative to surround yourself with only those that will lift you higher. And that when you lead with kindness, you're demonstrating just how simple it is to bring love into the world and to reveal God's presence in our lives. From the Talmud, we learn that the highest form of wisdom is kindness. As a Jewish educator, I often share that the most profound lesson learned is that what people say matters less than what they do. There's more truth in the doing than in the saying. The most impactful gift that one can give to a child is having supportive adults in their lives that demonstrate compassion, humility, integrity, and kindness. The JSU staff walk their talk every day. Our children see kindness and integrity in action. This, in fact, is the legacy of JSU, teaching and modeling how to lead by loving kindness. I'm glad that the JSU staff were there for my children. Let's work together to ensure that this legacy continues for many years to come. Thank you.
So a few years ago, I took a class with a rabbi in St. Louis named Rabbi Ravinsky, and he taught the class in collaboration with St. Louis University, which discussed the history of Israel and the Jewish perspective of the Middle East. My favorite thing that I took away from the class was the opportunity to learn so much about the history of Israel in just one semester of meeting, once a week after school, and with a bunch of like-minded Jewish students who really were curious to learn more about the history of the state of Israel. A huge part of being Jewish is understanding the history of Israel and modern Judaism, and understanding the values and traditions and the history behind the holidays. And without that education, it would be very difficult to understand why we practice certain traditions. This is a very, very important organization, and the funds are what keep it going. And if we don't have this education, we could lose an entire generation of young Jewish Americans in a world that is becoming putting less and less value on religion.
thank you for joining us this evening at the JSU Gala. I'm here today with a couple of my friends, and we want to tell you a little bit about why JSU means so much to us, but we want to start by thanking you and some of those involved today to make this possible.
Thank you to the JSCC for letting us use their Wool Theater to shoot tonight's event. My name is Erin Kelly. I am a senior at Crossroads College Prep.
My name is Sophie Sokolik. I'm a senior at Parkway Central.
My name is Sydney Kolker, and I'm a senior at Parkway Central.
And I'm Alex Sweetman. I graduated in 2015 from Parkway Central. Tonight is all about supporting JSU, and there's quite a few different ways that you can help support. We'll tell you a little bit about those later, but the best way is by text and to do it right now. I'm going to start off with a little question if you guys don't mind. What was the most impactful or best memory that you guys had in JSU?
My best memory from JSU was when I went on the New Orleans Relief Mission trip on President's Day weekend, and it was really cool just to see how kindness and giving back also related to Judaism, and also being able to give back to a community while also making friends and just having a good time.
One of my favorite memories would have to be Friday night Shabbos dinners, because it's just a really cool time to have some food that I don't normally have because my family doesn't do Shabbat every weekend, and get to talk to some people that I don't normally get to interact with. And then afterwards, we have the most meaningful conversations while getting to play really cool games, and it's just an amazing way to interact with people that I don't normally get to see.
I think one of my most impactful memories when I was in JSU in high school was that one of our programs really talked about God. And I think that was like the first time I ever slowed down and put that in my head and actually processed what God meant. And I was not necessarily someone who didn't believe in God, but I was someone who was very on edge. And I think we had a phenomenal teacher who just really was a kind, smart man. And he really just put a lot of perspective in my mind that made you really start to question. I think that was the first time I ever really, I always kind of like maybe believed in God, but that was the first time I was like, oh wait, there might actually be something more to this. And that whole perspective of who I am kind of all came out of that meeting. Many more conversations, of course, and follow-up meetings, but it was definitely the first JSU that we kind of sat down and I think just got fully engaged.
One of the most memorable things that happened in JSU for me, we started out with a game, and there was this dial, and it had something to do with hot dogs. And we started talking about hot dogs, and then we were talking about stuff, what makes things kosher and what kosher is. And then we ended up having this really in-depth conversation about what kosher meant to Judaism more than just having to do with food. It was very interesting.
JSU was sponsoring a soldier, someone who came from the IDF and who had been a big speaker on campus. And that was actually the first time I ever heard about BDS, and also heard about just the hatred that exists on campuses. This guy alone opened my world to the anti-Semitism that existed outside of what I thought in my bubble, and made me realize that it was a lot more to be a Jew in a world that's a Gentile world. And that kind of added a lot more value, I think, in the big picture of my life.
I go to a pretty Jewish school. It's like 50% Jewish, so I was never like worried about people coming and making comments to me that were anti-Semitic or anything like that. One day in 8th grade, this girl came up to me and told me that there should be another Holocaust so we can get rid of more unnecessary people like me. And I was just kind of like, I didn't know how to react because I never had to face anything like that before. And so I just kind of kept quiet about it. But like when I joined JSU in high school, it was like a way to connect with my Judaism in the same building where someone said something so awful to me. And it just kind of helped me reconnect and grow with my Judaism, realize it's not something that I need to keep from people. I can wear a Hamsa ring or my Jewish star necklace, and I should be proud of my religion.
Wow, that was some great stories. Thank you all for sharing. I know those were pretty personal, but it definitely is a nice way that JSU got you started. We're going to take a break here and figure out how you guys at home can help support us. We're going to switch over to Rabbi Mike and to you.
Thank you, Alex. My name is Rabbi Mike Rovinsky, and I have the greatest job on earth as the founder and director of the Jewish Student Union of St. Louis. Every day, my staff and I have the pleasure of engaging the teens of our community as they learn to grow and develop into the future leaders of our community and the Jewish people.
And I am one of those teens. My name is Olivia, and I'm a sophomore at Marquette High School. On behalf of more than 800 teens that benefit from JSU like I do, I wanted to say thank you for joining us tonight. It is hard to convey to words what your support of JSU means to us. Please know your partnership with JSU is impacting our lives by deepening our connection to Judaism in Israel. After COVID, I invite you to come to come to visit a JSU club and see for yourself what your financial support makes possible.
Yes, Olivia, it's so true. Unfortunately, in-person visits will have to wait until after COVID. But tonight, we hope we can share with you a bit of that JSU magic as we honor and pay tribute to two very special people, Harvey Greenstein and Esther Lyss-Greenstein of blessed memory. Tonight, we have an additional goal of raising additional funds to reach our gala goal of $216,000. By reaching that goal, JSU will be better poised to further expand our programming to meet the growing needs of the teens of our community. And in that vein, we are excited to announce some breaking news. To help us reach that goal, funds pledged tonight or donated tonight will be matched by some very special JSU friends, Marcy and Rick Kornfeld, Gloria Feldman, and Carol and Michael Steinberg.
Wow, thank you so much. Please consider making a new or additional donation by using the platform to the right of the screen or by texting GIVE to the number at the bottom of the screen. Tonight is the 5th night of Hanukkah. Hanukkah is about Jewish identity and hope. JSU has been here for my peers and I, strengthening our knowledge and appreciation of what it means to be part of the Jewish people.
I really wish we could have been together for that. I think we can all agree COVID sucks, right? Yeah.
Okay.
What really sucks about it is that we can't be together for our JSU clubs.
I can only imagine. What's that like right now?
Yeah, so it's really hard. We are still finding ways to meet in person, which is super nice, like socially distant. So we did meet outside one time where we had that big discussion, and we had a couple people come and we just sat outside and had a club. So it was really nice to just be able to see those people and have that conversation, because I know a lot of it has been virtual. So it's nice to be able to have that like face-to-face interaction.
We've done mostly Zoom meetings at my school. Fewer people have been coming, but we've still been able to have really in-depth, interesting conversations, which is really nice. You still feel the community. What were your favorite activities that we can't do now?
Definitely edible sukkahs. That was really fun. We used like graham crackers and pretzels and frosting and candy, and I don't even remember, so much stuff. And then we'd build sukkahs, and then afterwards they'd probably start to fall down because it's food, and then we would get to eat them, which was really fun.
And I also liked when we built the dreidels out of clay. I thought that was really fun.
Yeah, I really like the, we did maybe poems out of the sounds, the length of the shofar. It was really fun.
I'm a sucker for chocolate, so chocolate Seder is all on me.
And what about the pizza? Totally missed the pizza.
Pizza's the best part. Or the sushi.
Oh yeah.
You guys had sushi night?
Yeah. We had sushi and we like tripled the number of people that came to club.
I think we had falafel, and there was 35 people there.
We had a Purim costume contest one time. That was cool. It was definitely funky because we're the only people showing up in you know, in the middle of April or whatever.
So we've all been to JSU clubs at our school, but most of you haven't. So take a look at this video we made to show you what it's really like.
He has been open for 7 hours. Different shades of like brown and like blonde.
No, he always gets upset at me that I say get there, change his colors. Is dishwasher safe?
Does he have a beard though? You're sliding. I am sliding. He's not. He is. Wait, he's not good enough for Maddie. Nobody's good enough for Maddie. He's not.
Makes us want to learn and grow and help. Everything you guys say at the start of a meeting is about that ideal. Trying to make yourselves the kind of people that will make other people want to be better by just being around them.
It is the Jewish book of law, and this is what all the world's major monotheistic religions are based on. In English, by other faiths, it's called the Old Testament. This is what we believe God gave Moses on Mount Sinai, that he wrote, transcribed, and every Torah from then was copied from the one before it, until the very Torah that we have today. If you walk into any synagogue or temple, you open up the Ark. That's the holiest part of the synagogue. That's where the Torahs are kept, and you will find Torah scrolls.
Obviously, from a Jewish perspective, it's something that's very painful, and it's something that's very scary. I mean, it's a frightening thing on many, many levels, and it's not, I think the emotions that teens feel when they hear something like this, I mean, it's not something that obviously only affected the Jewish community, but I am a parent of 8 children. I'm a Jewish parent of 8 children, so it has affected me and my family in many different ways.
And so he was like telling me about it, and the first thing I did was immediately shoot her a text, and thank God she was fine. But like
She was in the synagogue?
No, she wasn't in the synagogue, but she goes to that synagogue. So I texted her. Thank God she was fine. But like that was a terrifying thing to know that like I know people who could have been one of the 11 shot.
If I were to...
Me too.
How are things?
Yeah.
Is that from your cat?
The hair, probably cats and dogs, but probably mostly cat because lots of time with a cat.
Are you a latkes with applesauce or sour cream person?
We've discussed this and you got really mad.
Because you're an applesauce person.
Snake, look forward to Israel. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Celia! Celia's like this, you know, sweet, hi, and she's a black belt. Please don't bother me, I might have to kill you. I don't want to rip your throat out, you know. Is that Alyssa?
Yeah.
It's hard to tell. How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Good, so good to see you.
Thanks, Mom.
Do you know, I assume you don't know, Karen and Celia.
Hi, Mom.
This is Karen Huss, Celia Weingart, and this is Alyssa Crowley.
How's Ellie doing?
Oh, she's okay.
Yeah. Is she in school now or she's working?
Hanukkah was a moment where people stood up for what they believed in, and they said, we're going to, you know, we're going to fight. And it was a suicide mission, because they couldn't fight. The Greek army was the superpower of the world. And they did it anyways. See, there were actually 2 miracles that happened on Hanukkah. One miracle was that these vagabond Jewish people, the Maccabees, these were the priests in the temple. But they went out, they said, we have to stand up, and whatever happens, happens. We have to, you know, put an end to what's going on. And that was one miracle, is that they pushed the Greek army out. The second, more famous miracle was the miracle of the oil. Every day in the temple, they would light the menorah. The menorah was a symbol of light. It was a symbol of Torah, which is everything that we are and we do comes from our Torah. And the oil was pressed and was kept in a state of purity. And they come into the temple, and they find that all of the oil was impure. So the miracle is they found that one cruse of oil that was still pure, and they lit the pure oil, and the oil lasted for 8 days and nights. And that's the miracle that we celebrate. The other thing that's a little bit interesting is you would think if this were a Disney film, right? How does it end? The Jews lived happily ever after, right? That's not what happened. After this miracle, things regressed again. Until the time you had the Romans who displaced the Greeks, they actually destroyed the Second Temple. So one thing to think about is, so why do we celebrate that? So here's the clue. What's that?
Dreidels.
That's not a dreidel.
Well, it's not a dreidel yet.
Ah, it's clay. Because the song, everyone knows the song? What's the song? We have to sing it. I had a little dreidel, I made it out of clay. So, the question is, what in the world does dreidel have to do with Hanukkah?
The Greeks, it was forbidden for Jews to study Talmud and Torah, so the children, to hide that they were studying Talmud and Torah, whenever the guards would come by, they would play with the dreidels.
Okay. Everyone's familiar with the story? Alyssa, you're like, I never heard that one before. The Greeks didn't want to get rid of the Jews. They wanted to get rid of Judaism. If you guys want to start, by the way, you can start. Okay, there are different times, different periods in history where Jews were threatened in different ways. They wanted to get rid of the Jews. Everyone should be like a Greek. You know, build your body, do the Olympics, you know, everything is physical. And the Jewish people, our culture and our religion were more about the spiritual. And the Greeks didn't like that. So they told the Jewish people, you're not allowed to teach Torah, you're not allowed to learn Torah, and if you do, then we're going to kill you. The Jewish people said, we have to learn Torah. It's our lifeblood. It's everything that we're about. And if we don't learn Torah, then they won. So who is the ones that were using these dreidels? What's the legend that we tell over? I sometimes imagine, like the parents would say, well, what should we do? And the kid The child comes over to the parent and says, but I can't go to my rabbi. I can't go to my teacher to learn. How can I not? Well, they issued a decree. They're going to kill you if you go. Give me my dreidel. I'll protect myself. The parents were willing to allow their children to be in a situation of risking their lives. But they had a defense. They protected themselves. If the Greek soldiers came into the cave where they were learning, where they were hiding, what was their defense? A dreidel. Oh, we were playing a game. The dreidel is a symbol of what the Jewish people did to deserve that miracle. Does anyone know the Hebrew word for miracle? What does it say on the dreidel? You know what the letters are? Nes gadol hayasham. A great miracle happened there. The word nes, which we use to mean miracle, in the Torah is used to mean a flag or a banner. So what's a miracle? It's a banner that shows that God is still there with us. And sometimes he has to make a decision that might be painful or hurtful, and he's only doing it because he loves us. And he's only doing it because he wants to motivate us. Why would we celebrate something that there was a great miracle, but then things regressed?
Because they earned the miracle.
Because they earned the miracle. Excellent. I once heard, I think, Rabbi Noach Weinberg, he was the dean of Eish HaTorah in Jerusalem. He said that figure out what it is that you'd be willing to die for, and then go live for that. And that's the greatest sanctification of life. And that's what Hanukkah is about.
Since JSU first came to Crossroads, it's really provided our students with the opportunity to engage with ethical and moral ideas in a way that the students have said they really don't seem to get every day in their regular classes. And I know they really value this opportunity to share their ideas and to learn and to really study the gray areas that sometimes come to play in some of these issues. Students who have come back from the national conferences or the service trips have really been impacted in a very positive way. They enjoy being able to help and being able to engage with the greater community on an issue that's important for them as Jews. And in addition, about a good chunk, about half of our students who come to Club are not Jewish. And in a school that really values diversity, it's an excellent opportunity for us to learn from each other and share what we know and love about our own faith.
This year we have the exciting new option to donate through text. Pick up your phone, dial the number on the screen, and text as soon as possible to donate to the JSU.
None of our clubs would be possible without the dedication of our school faculty sponsors. They are the ones who commit to be at club each and every week. They help with recruiting students, and they serve as the liaison between JSU and the school administration. Olivia, what was one of your favorite JSU clubs or experiences?
My favorite JSU experience is attending this gala every year and meeting all of you, and especially getting to know every single one of you that support JSU and help to continue our amazing programs.
Olivia, it's great to hear you say that, because that is always the biggest feedback I get after each gala, was how much the attendees enjoyed meeting and sitting with teens like you. Unfortunately, due to COVID's impact on so many aspects of our lives, we have had to adapt this annual gala and all of our programming to both meet all safety concerns while still being there for the teens. Presently, we are running about 150% of our normal programming. Our school clubs meet virtually, and we have added other types of programs like matzah baking, challah baking, and of course, Jewish exercise classes and woodworking clubs with Sam. We have also launched a variety of experiences to meet the emotional and other needs of the teens and their parents. This is one reason why we need your investment and partnership this year more than ever. COVID may have shut down many things, but it has inspired us to go into hyperdrive with our programming. Olivia, what are some of your favorite JSU activities?
Some of my favorite experiences at JSU are making edible sukkahs for Sukkot and making homemade gragers for Purim. But most of all, I love how JSU makes Judaism so meaningful. Your support not only allows JSU to connect with teens like me in schools, but enables them to take us out into the world for unique Jewish experiences. Hey, guys, can you share with us some of the bigger events that JSU is able to do because of the support of our audience?
I've been given the opportunity to travel to New Orleans for a mission trip and then also to Israel through JSU. So what have been one of your guys' most meaningful opportunities through JSU?
I got to go to a sukkah party. It was really last minute. My friends just texted me like, hey, you want to go to this? I was like, yeah, sure. You know, I didn't really know what was going on. I just was told I was going to a sukkah party. But it was like one of the best nights ever. Like I just showed up and everyone was so welcoming, even though I didn't really know anyone that well. And like we had the best food and like we just spent the whole night talking, and it felt really good to like just go and be with a bunch of other Jewish people who like I don't normally get to see or talk to, people I probably would never have met if I didn't go. And now every time I see them when I get to, it's like, oh, like I know you, like I remember you from the sukkah party.
Yeah, I went to APAC with JSU last year, and I took the Israel Scholars class after school for just a semester. It was very fun, very interesting. Learned a lot in both programs.
I think my biggest event that kind of I was involved with JSU was that guest speaker. Sergeant Benjamin came in, the IDF soldier, and he kind of got to tell his story. I know that's not cheap to bring in someone from Israel to come and just not have to worry about, like as a club, to raise that financing either, to know that like our program supported us through JSU. I think that's what was pretty cool, to have someone of that caliber come in. And because of that moment of talking to just that one person, I really got started on my path on advocacy on campus.
So I really like TJJ because I had the opportunity to travel all throughout Israel, not just to one part, which was super nice. And then having that 4 weeks in Israel was really cool because we got to experience a lot. Like we got to go to the Western Wall, a lot, the Dead Sea, all that kind of stuff, also Spot. So it was really cool that we got to tour all over the place. While also having like the meaningful conversations like we have in JSU clubs. And then also just the friends that I made on that trip are still people that I talk to and are some of my best friends. So without that trip, I wouldn't have had those opportunities, and just to meet people from like around the area too that I can connect to also are super nice.
That's what I liked so much about the Israel Scholars class. We were learning history, but we were also having discussions about it, which is what made it feel more like a fun, casual thing, even though it was scholarly.
I think that's kind of like what JSU events kind of do really well, is it teaches you something without feeling like you're getting lectured. You know, it's very unique in the approach, and you actually relate to it a lot more. That's how someone who's like non-Jewish would come to a JSU club, or someone who has no clue who's Jewish would show up.
I'm not Jewish, but I've been going to JSU, and people ask me like, why would you go if you're not Jewish? And I was like, well, I went for the pizza. I didn't have lunch one day, and I knew they had pizza, so I went. But I stayed for the discussions and for the learning and the sense of community I felt there. Even though I don't practice the religion, I still felt like I belonged.
My name is Elena Higdon, and I just graduated from Marquette High School in 2020. I'm currently studying abroad in the beautiful land of Israel. I first got involved in JSU when I went on JSU's Israel program, TJJ. And because of Rabbi Ravinsky, Rabbi Staum, and Sam Zinton, I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be learning in Israel today. Because of JSU, I'm here learning and enhancing my connection to Judaism, the people of Israel, and the land of Israel. Thank you, JSU.
Hi, good evening. I'm Benjamin Singer, and I'm a JSU alumnus from Parkway Central High School. I know I still look like it, but I'm in my 30s now. I wanted to share a transformative experience that I had with JSU. I went on the New York trip with JSU, and on the last day, we were sitting in a circle talking about some of the things that we've learned and learning some new things. Everything that the Jewish community has been through throughout the millennia, all the people who have tried to get us to stop being Jewish, and the ways that we have persisted, and that we've stood up for ourselves, and that we've stood up for what's right. And that was a transformative experience for me. I came back to public high school, started wearing a yarmulke 100% of the time, because I believed that it was important to stand up for who I am and who we are as a Jewish people, and to continue that, to raise Jewish families, to have a strong Jewish community, and to have a strong state of Israel, a homeland for the Jewish people, where we obviously need it. So, after that, I was co-president of our JSU chapter. That was the first leadership experience I've had in the Jewish community. I went on to get a JSU, or rather get an ADL scholarship to college. I co-founded a Jewish student organization in college. I recruited for a birthright trip in college. I was a leader for the Sinai Scholars Program in college. After college, I took additional leadership roles. I'm now on the board of my synagogue in University City, and very proud and very grateful for the effect and influence that JSU had on my life as a young Jew. And as you can see now, sitting in my office, my home office space, I work for an organization now that stands up for what's right in our society. And I think a lot of that was influenced by the experiences I had with JSU and other experiences as a young Jew, learning what it means to stand up for ourselves and to stand up for what's right in our society when we need it so much.
Thank you, Elena and Benjamin, for your stories. Friends, Elena and Benjamin are just two examples of what JSU can do for us teens. If you have donated before tonight, please consider a second donation. And if you have not yet donated, now is your chance. You can get a round of golf with Rabbi Mike, or a sushi dinner delivered to your home, or even a custom wooden mezuzah by Sam Zidit. He does such amazing work.
Yes, Olivia, so many unique gifts for those who donate tonight. I have an update on our current donations. We are currently sitting at, ready? $198,222. Thank you so much. A little more to go. You know, Olivia, I was sitting with some colleagues in a development meeting, and the facilitator asked me, what would JSU do if you received a $1 million gift? What would you have suggested, Olivia?
Well, I think that JSU would use the money to help bring more education and resources about Judaism to others that aren't as fortunate, and to help provide kids with the best Jewish experience as possible. Aaron, what do you think JSU should do with $1 million?
A tower of pizza.
I'd give Sam Zinn a raise.
Send more kids to Israel.
Yeah, I'd just say more trips too, because I think they're really cool. Just to like go to a new place, but then also like have a connection to Judaism while you're there and like meet a bunch of new people is really cool.
You could feed the whole school pizza for JSU days.
I think creating more of those multiple school events. I don't know if you guys had those when you were around, but we did a couple meetings where we got together with other JSUs from other clubs, and I think having those events, and then also realizing that JSU is national. So maybe if we could find a way with $1 million to bring in some other kids would be pretty cool.
In-house pizza factory or like kosher pizza production unit, so we never run out of pizza.
More practically, I'd probably create more opportunities for students to interact with more religious Jews, but also not religious Jews in the real world, maybe young professionals, and kind of bridging that gap from a high schooler to, maybe a college student or a recent graduate.
Or you could do postgraduate programs. Kids that not in high school anymore, they used to be in the JSU club and they aged out.
Right, taking those alumni and putting them in, all the different alumni from all the different JSUs, and just, I definitely think alumni and active JSU engagement needs to...
That would be really fun. That would be really interesting too. You could hear a lot of different perspectives.
And kind of like me, I assume that several others also use JSU as a first, stepping stone to get into Judaism. So I feel like, that opportunity would be awesome.
Yeah.
Just to meet another alumni or someone older than you, especially when you're in high school. You feel like someone who's 20, even though they're nothing, you're like, wow, you're 20, Tell me more. What's the real world?
Somebody who's gone out there.
Right. What else would I do with $1 million?
See if you could connect with another JSU community on the other side of the country, and then switch groups of people for a week, and so they can experience JSU in St. Louis, and we could experience JSU in wherever else we were going.
What about in other parts of the world?
We got $1 million. Cool. I like it.
Maybe swap with people from Israel. We could do a little switch over.
Money definitely enables a lot more, and that's why it's really important for you to donate. So thank you.
Are you sitting on your phone? Are you holding it right now? Are you playing Candy Crush? Either way, pick up your phone and text us right now to donate to JSU.
Being a teenager isn't always easy. In fact, at times it can be overwhelming. Beyond the challenges of rigorous schoolwork, racing hormones, and a family to answer to, teens today may ask themselves, where do I fit in?
Is there a place where I can be myself, keep my individualism, my Jewish heritage, all the things that make me, me, and still be cool? This is where JSU comes in.
At JSU, everyone belongs. Any feelings of isolation are erased. Club time is where every teen feels good, uplifted, and connected. Self-esteem is boosted.
Every student's participation is celebrated as teens are inspired to take pride in their Jewish identity.
Even amid a pandemic, JSU provides the stability and resources that teens long for during such a pivotal time in their lives.
So thank you for being here, supporting JSU, and giving all of our community teens a place to engage while making Judaism meaningful and relevant in their lives. You are ensuring the next generation of Jewish leaders.
Penny, Mark, thank you so much. And I just have to take a moment off script and give Penny a special thank you for all her encouragement, attention to detail, and sharing her expertise with JSU year after year.
Your donations not only fund 16 JSU clubs, but they also fund the 13 college-accredited courses that JSU currently offers, our Jewish-themed community service missions, scholarships to enable us to spend a meaningful summer in Israel, on JSU's TJJ and gap years in Israel, and so much more. Thank you so much for making all these things available to me and my peers. Rabbi Mike, how did JSU get started anyway?
Well, 19 years ago, I heard a very scary statistic from a study on the lack of Jewish engagement amongst teens and young adults and the overall assimilation rate of these precious Jews. But even more important, I was pained by the fact that so many people were walking away from Jewish engagement, usually without having had the chance to experience the beauty and excitement of our Jewish heritage, its richness and the relevance to their daily lives. Realizing that the teens would not likely come to me to learn about and explore Judaism, I decided to emulate a program that a colleague of mine was doing on the West Coast to bring Judaism to the teens on their turf to their schools. So I started to explore the idea of creating Jewish Student Union clubs in the public and private high schools of St. Louis. I first spoke with some well-connected friends and community leaders, and they all said that it could never happen. There was no way that a public school would ever allow us in, and even if they did, the teens wouldn't be interested in coming. Basically, they told me that it was a pipe dream that wouldn't happen in a million years. I appreciated all that encouragement, and I changed my strategy. I went to a teen. I found a teen I knew at Ladue High School, and we made a deal. I would bring the pizza and fun, inspiring programs, and she would bring the teens. And that's what we did for each of the JSU clubs we started. Then, when we saw a need for Israel education, we created the Galia and Milton Movitz Senator John Danforth Israel Scholars Course and partnered with St. Louis University so the students would earn 3 college credits as an incentive to come. And yes, we did serve pizza there too. We did the same with a Jewish philosophy course. But the key ingredient which enabled JSU to grow from an impossible dream to a program servicing over 800 teens, resulting in over 7,800 interactions per year, is the relationship building and connections that happen between JSU staff and the teens, along with providing them inspiring and relevant Jewish content.
Friends, please join me to watch JSU over the past 18 years.
I close my eyes and I can see the world that's waiting up for me, that I call my own. Through the dark, through the door, through where no one's been before, but it feels like home. They can say it all sounds crazy. They can say I've lost my mind. I don't care, so call me crazy. We can live in a world that we design. Every night I lie in bed, the brightest dollars fill my head. A million dreams are keeping A million dreams is all it's gonna take. A million dreams for the world we're gonna make. There's a house we can build, every room inside is filled with things from far away. The special things I compile, each one there to make you smile on a rainy day. They can say it all sounds crazy. They can say we've lost our minds. I don't care if they call us crazy. Run away to a world that we design. Every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. A million dreams for the world we're gonna make. However big, however small, let me be part of it all. Share your dreams with me. You may be right, you may be wrong, but say that you'll bring me along to the world you see. To the world I close my eyes to see. I close my eyes to see. Every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. A million dreams for the world we're gonna make. For the world we're gonna make.
And it is a deep pleasure to have served the last 6 months as a chair and getting to know Rabbi Mike the way I've gotten to know him. But a deep down appreciation, not only for JSU, but how they honor people coming from the past. Harvey Greenstein and Esther, may their soul rest in peace, have been dear friends of mine and Deanne's for over 50 years. We broke into Jewish communal life together with the Federation. It's a deep, deep, deep honor, okay, to see them honored tonight. As we broke into the Federation life and Jewish communal work back 50 years ago, the big thing was Jewish identity. It wasn't Jewish education, it was Jewish identity. So when I look at JSU, it's a combination of Jewish education, but it's really Jewish identity. It's developing who I really am as a Jew. How am I going to make it in this world as a Jew? How does Torah really help me make myself a better person? I want to welcome everybody for coming. I know this is a virtual. I know that it's difficult. I know that we've all seen many of these virtual functions. When it is over, we want to invite each and every one of you. We want you to reach out. We want to bring you to a club. We want to meet with you. We want to explain more about JSU and why JSU has had such an impact on our Jewish community. And it continues to have an impact beyond the Jewish community as these youngsters, these teenagers, develop into productive human beings, giving us a better way of life. Thank you again. Looking forward to seeing you in the future.
That's a lot of teens and a ton of pizza.
Yes, it is. We go through close to 13,000 slices of pizza, in addition to special holiday foods and sushi. I have an update on our current donations. Ready? We are at $201,038. Thank you, everybody, so much. Oh, wow. This is awesome, Olivia. It's all because of you. So, Olivia, if you are comfortable, would you share with the audience how you ended up coming to your first JSU club and what it was like for you? Tell me the truth. Did your mom make you come?
I came to my first JSU club when I was looking through the school activities handbook, and I thought I should go to see what it was all about. And surprisingly, no, my mom did not make me go.
Tonight's not a Yom Tov, so pick up your phone and donate. Send a text in the new way that we just brought out this year. As mentioned quite a few times, you can send it by text, by email, or you can go ahead and send a check-in, or you can check out our website.
It's such a great blessing to be together to celebrate JSU's 18th annual gala. As a parent of 5 children that were nurtured as members of the JSU family, I can say without a doubt that the positive impact of the relationships developed with the JSU staff have been deep and meaningful. In fact, it's not unusual for Rabbi Ravinsky, Gershi, or Rabbi Stam to come up in family conversations. Although experiences and lessons learned may have felt small at the time, our children have reflected that the lessons were indeed quite impactful in college and beyond. As an educator, this is the outcome that we seek: experiential learning that influences in meaningful ways long after its initial impact. As parents, we taught that in order to be one's best self, it is imperative to surround yourself with only those that will lift you higher. And that when you lead with kindness, you're demonstrating just how simple it is to bring love into the world and to reveal God's presence in our lives. From the Talmud, we learn that the highest form of wisdom is kindness. As a Jewish educator, I often share that the most profound lesson learned is that what people say matters less than what they do. There's more truth in the doing than in the saying. The most impactful gift that one can give to a child is having supportive adults in their lives that demonstrate compassion, humility, integrity, and kindness. The JSU staff walk their talk every day. Our children see kindness and integrity in action. This, in fact, is the legacy of JSU, teaching and modeling how to lead by loving kindness. I'm glad that the JSU staff were there for my children. Let's work together to ensure that this legacy continues for many years to come. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Michelle Brooks. My daughter Olivia is a sophomore at Marquette High School in the Rockwood School District. This is her second year being involved in JSU, and it's been really a great experience for her. She has taken on more leadership roles in various Jewish organizations in the community. And also she has an increased interest in going to Israel, which hopefully she will do in the next year or two. I'm so glad that she could find a community like JSU at her high school that is very large. And it's really been an amazing experience for her, but also as a parent of someone in JSU, I appreciate the support that Sam has given her and the programming that goes along with the JSU club. So thank you so much for your support, and I look forward to a couple more years of Olivia being involved in JSU. Thank you.
Thanks for embarrassing me, Mom. Actually, thank you for the support.
Actually, parents play an important role in JSU. In fact, it was a JSU parent who inspired the launch of the Movitz Danforth Israel Scholars course for adults. Over the years, parents have frequently called upon JSU staff for guidance in dealing with a variety of issues that often come up when raising teens. We get invited to family simchas and milestones. JSU focus has always been the teens, but in truth, we are there for the entire family. Okay.
JSU has impacted so many people, and it's incredible the waves that it's making and what it's doing, and it's helped me personally, it's helped quite a few others, and now more than ever, it is very important that because of you and what you're able to do and what you're able to give, it allows us to continue and not just discovering our Judaism, but to be in the world, to allow them to know what Judaism is. So donate, please. Show your support. It's really, really beyond what you realize, that by signing that check or sending a text, you're doing way more than just sending some money away. You're enabling a high school student or someone who goes out into the world to become someone that is more confident with their Judaism, but also more confident in the world.
I was lucky enough to be a student in the Senator John Danforth Israel Scholars Program back in 2015, and I loved it so much that I took home all the conversations, the dialogue, and the curriculum, and I felt so compelled to share everything that I had learned with my family.
I really enjoyed learning what Ben was learning and was so excited about the class. I wanted to learn it just as much as he was wanting to learn it. And I was so grateful to Rabbi Ravinsky when I approached him and said, will you teach me? And he said, how about we create an adult Israel class? And I said, great, I'll help you. So together we launched the first adult Israel semester class beginning in 2016. And together we helped fill the class. Many of them were my very close friends. And we had a wonderful semester learning with Rabbi Ravinsky. We didn't want this semester to end. We enjoyed each and every class. And a few of us even had the privilege to join you for the first time for us to an APAC conference. So Rabbi Ravinsky, thank you for being such an amazing teacher and inspiration. Thank you for your patience and time, and may you continue to go from strength to strength. And on behalf of your first adult Israel class, we say Mazel Tov to JSU on celebrating 18 years of success, not only inspiring and teaching Jewish teens, but also inspiring and teaching Jewish adults as well. Mazel Tov.
It's so great to hear stories from other JSUers, and it's obvious that it's impacted a lot of people. I'm very interested to hear how it can impact you going forward in life, after high school, choosing a college, and what you do.
It's a great question. JSU impacted me and where my decision to go to college by actually derailing completely what I wanted to do. I was going to go to University of Central Florida, and Mike Ravinsky convinced me to go to Israel. So I did a one-year program in Israel, and it opened my eyes. JSU then laid the foundation continuously, and then with Israel, to start my advocacy on campus. I went to University of Missouri St. Louis, and very quickly I got to learn that there needed to be a voice, and I think JSU really built my confidence around the voice and understanding that it's okay to be a Jew and a Jew around non-Jews, and it's okay to be around non-Jews around Jews, and that once we're all together, it's just a community. And instead of focusing on one component that makes us different, it's what overlaps. And I think JSU really enabled me to realize that Judaism is amazing, that Israel's amazing, and that there's a lot more that I can be doing as an individual for the world, and let alone as a Jew. Something like that. So how has JSU influenced you?
Well, I've certainly explored a lot more of Judaism through going to JSU, and I think I've also found a little bit of more confidence in myself by going to a club where I am not Jewish. I don't practice Judaism, but I've never felt like an outcast. I've always been part of the community. I've always felt like a part of the group. I've always felt like I belong. And by going to JSU, I felt more confident in myself and learning these values. I feel like, I don't know, JSU has impacted a lot of my life and who I am and who I've become.
Friends, I was just informed that your response has been so overwhelming, it's overloaded the text to give application. So please be patient, or use the platform, the right side of the video that you're watching now, to make your contribution, or just be a little bit more patient and try the text to donate app in a little bit. I was told by my commission chair, Paul Gallant, that I had to take a few minutes to share with you, our JSU family, an update on how we are managing and what we are doing during this pandemic. Moving on, I want to thank our Gala co-chairs, Dr. Stan and Jean Margol, Dr. Richard Kofkoff, and Dr. Susan Godwin-Kofkoff. I can't thank you enough for all you have done to make this evening the success it has become. To our honorary chairs and the entire Gala committee, thank you for your guidance, ideas, and support. I think I was true to my word of 2 to 3 one-hour meetings. It is clear that between our working chairs, honorary chairs, and Gala committee, we have a winning team, a team that has made this the most financially successful Gala in our history. Please consider yourselves rehired for next year's Gala. I must also thank our new board chair, Mr. Paul Gallant. His passion and drive for excellence, combined with his love for the teens and Torah learning, keep me on my toes. I can always count on a text from him every morning, except Shabbat, at about 6:34, followed by a phone call at 9 a.m. to check in and see what he can do to help us that day and to make sure that I stay focused on the next big steps of JSU. But more than all of that, he has become a very dear personal friend and a great golfing buddy. I will beat you one of these days, Paul. I would like to recognize the outstanding JSU team who transformed those million dreams into reality on a daily basis. Rabbi Yitzdaum, Sam Zitten, and our administrative team, Ellen Hoffman and Judy Haber. I would be remiss if I didn't thank our spouses, Mrs. Racheli Staum, Mrs. Jackie Zitten, and of course my wife, Mrs. Selena Rovinsky. Their dedication to the future of the Jewish people is what enables us to go out and make a difference. To our special matchers this evening, Marcy and Rick Kornfeld, Gloria Feldman, and Carol and Michael Steinberg, thank you, thank you, thank you. You have always been there for us with your advice, guidance, and support. We cannot thank you enough. And now for your COVID update. Aren't you tired of those words? I know I am. But in any event, in regards to COVID, we are busier with more programming than ever. Between March and August alone, JSU ran over 150 virtual programs, resulting in over 1,250 encounters with teens. You heard earlier about some of the creative programs our amazing staff put together to continue the inspiration despite everyone being Zoomed out. Rabbi Staum and Sam's ability to take the plethora of JSU programs and literally overnight adapt them to a Zoom platform while maintaining the excitement and quality for which our programs are known was both impressive and truly heroic. Because we have not been able to have in-person club meetings, which hinders our ability somewhat to recruit new teens, we have shifted our focus this year from the breadth in regards to the numbers of teens we strive to reach to the depth and the number of meaningful interactions with the teens with whom we already have relationships and with their families. As a result, in addition to our clubs, we are having a lot more individual or small pod meetings on Zoom with masks and social distancing for live person events and family meetings. JSU is pleased to announce the launch of our 3rd accredited course for high school students, college accredited course, the Andrew and Ann Rauschman Holocaust Studies course. Observing the increase of anti-Semitism, Holocaust denial, and overall lack of knowledge about the Holocaust amongst people in general and today's teenagers in particular, JSU began the process of developing a unique type of Holocaust course that would focus not only on the important history, but on the relevancy of the Holocaust on our teens' lives today. The course is being named in memory of the parents of former JSU board chair and alum parent, Dr. Michael and Dr. Arian May Rauschman. We are working with the Kaplan Feldman Holocaust Museum, as well as other educational organizations in the development of this special, unique curriculum. You can learn more about the course from the electronic Gala journal you will be sent following tonight's event. Over the years, JSU Friends have established several scholarship endowment funds for the benefit of the teens. Among those funds are the High C. Miller Fund, the Meira Bressler Reamer Fund, and the Marcy and Rick Kornfeld Israel Engagement Fund. Tonight, I am excited to announce the establishment of the Gesher Eliyahu Scholarship Fund. This scholarship fund was created by Susie and Stuart Rosenblum in memory of their beloved father and father-in-law, Lawrence Kent, whose Hebrew name was Eliyahu. The fund will provide an annual scholarship in the amount of $5,000 to a qualified JSUer wanting to spend a gap year in Israel, deepening their appreciation for Judaism and Jewish texts. Since the inception of JSU 18 years ago, I have had the good fortune of meeting and developing long-lasting, close relationships with many special people. Two of those individuals are Harvey Greenstein and his wife of blessed memory, Esther Lyss-Greenstein. To be honest, I don't even remember how we met, but it feels like I've known them forever. Harvey is a walking embodiment of the way a Jew is supposed to treat their fellow human being. One could open up Pirkei Avot, Ethics of the Fathers, and chances are, no matter what page they would open to, the teachings will be ones lived by Harvey. Harvey loves people. He wants nothing more than for others to succeed and to be blessed. Harvey's smile embodies what our sages teach us of receiving everybody with a smiling countenance. If you're having a tough day, all you have to do is pick up the phone and call Harvey. He will make you feel better. In short, Harvey is one of the nicest, sweetest, considerate, giving, caring, compassionate, and yes, yummiest people you will ever meet. He is also a very dear friend of JSU and of mine. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a peek and learn a little bit more about Harvey and Esther.
Our parents and Stanley and Esther met when we moved back to St. Louis in the late 60s. So the families have been friends for a long time.
After Enid passed away and after my dad passed away, at some point, Harvey and my mom started spending time together because they were spending time with their friends. And obviously something further developed from that.
The two of them were just a fantastic couple. You could tell the love between the two of them. It was obvious.
Many times if Harvey wasn't in the synagogue on Saturday, he was at Sharamuth with her because they shared that love of the synagogues together.
They both have always exuded warmth, intellect, interest in other people.
Very positive attitude, always with smiles on their face.
Our parents really always opened up our home and opened up our kitchen to not only the extended family that we had in St. Louis growing up, but also to each of our friends and their families.
Anyone that knows Harvey knows that he has a smile that goes miles and miles and miles. And the joy that you felt from Mom and Harvey's smile and the extended family, it felt very, very comfortable.
Growing up, our parents, they never really told you what to do, but they just led by example. So you weren't told, you just knew how to, how to be somebody in the community, how to contribute, how to be charitable.
He leads with his smile and he has a positive attitude, and you are thankful to God for the things that you are given, and you give back.
Harvey, of course, has always been generous both to the Jewish community in terms of fundraising and, of course, in doing work.
Harvey was involved in everything in B'nai Amunah. He's a real mainstay of B'nai Amunah. He was a past president. He's very involved in the services, the minions there. He leads a minion. He reads Torah. He exhibits all the values of the Torah. He's just a wonderful human being. He understands that people are people, and if they want to participate with us at B'nai Amunah, we have a very open tent, and Harvey is one of the ringmasters.
Our parents became close with the rabbis, the cantors, with the people who taught or ran the religious school. And so I felt every time I walked into our synagogue that I was walking into a place that felt like an extension of our home.
CAGE is the Central Agency for Jewish Education that was formed years ago by all the congregations. Instead of having their own schools, they decided that they would have one large school. Harvey was the president of that organization that put all of those schools together, and it was quite a feat.
Well, Jewish education is
really the basis for the continuity of the Jewish people. We've been using the Torah for some 3,000 plus years, and if it's good enough to get us to this point, maybe we should continue with it. Make sure that the kids who are going to be our future when we're not here are knowledgeable in it and just act upon it. Rabbi Mike and Rabbi Yitz and Sam work with the kids to do Torah, and it's just a wonderful thing, and we have been so pleased to be involved. If Esther were able to be here, she would echo that.
What would be meaningful to my mom, were she here, and to Harvey about an evening like this is that it's an evening that encourages people to think about what they want their own contributions to be.
If JSU is continuing to reach out to students who may or may not be involved in their own congregations and enabling them to really find their love, I think that is what attracts Mom and Harvey to this kind of a commitment.
The importance that they've put on family and on education and practicing their Judaism and their involvement in JSU is actually as genuine as the two of them have always been. And I think if anyone knows them or even meets them, you can feel that genuine quality coming through.
Rabbi Ravinsky, Rabbi Stom, Sam have just energized a group of kids, teens, youth to fulfill what we would like to see, and to say that I and Esther are a part of it is really rewarding.
When I asked Harvey to accept this honor on his and Esther's behalf, he really fought hard to turn us down. He said he does what he does because he loves to give and because it's the right thing to do. It was only when I said to him that by allowing us to honor him tonight and highlight his accomplishments, he would serve as an inspiration for the rest of us to strive to follow in his footsteps. It was then that he acquiesced to our request. But he had one condition. We were not allowed to waste precious dollars that could help the teens on a gift for him. He said that if we had to give him something, we should write Mazel Tov on a piece of paper and give it to him. Well, Harvey, we listened to you and we didn't listen to you. We all know of your love and dedication to Jewish education and to our beloved land of Israel. Therefore, for your gift, we are taking a significant portion of the funds we saved this year by not having to cater dinner for 400 people and establishing the Harvey Greenstein and Esther Lyss-Greenstein Scholarship Fund. This fund will be used to assist teens in participating in JSU's Israel-based summer programs, as well as post-high school gap year Jewish studies programs in Israel. Harvey, I know that you are a big fan of studying Pirkei Avot, Ethics of the Fathers. Perhaps that is why you are such a wonderful, happy person, because you try to put into practice all that you learn in that special text. Therefore, in recognition of the Harvey Greenstein and Esther Lyss-Greenstein Scholarship Fund, and to provide you with additional commentaries and teachings on Pirkei Avot, we present to you this coffee table edition of the Art Scroll Ethics of the Fathers with an anthologized commentary and anecdotes, along with a coffee table edition of Rabbi Beryl Wine's commentary on Ethics of the Fathers, Teachings for Our Times. They come with a lifetime guarantee, so when you wear them out, we will buy you a new one. I am looking forward to starting our Pirkei Avot study sessions together next week.
What can I say but thank you? I'm speechless, which is not as something that I do normally, is not being able to get words out. But thank you so much. I mean, you know, Esther got her degree in teaching. Education is important. She would be so appreciative of this, as I am. And all I can do is say thank you to everyone who participated to make this evening a success, which in turn makes the year ahead for JSU a success. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
It has been a tremendous evening, and I thank you all for being here. Let's check in on our donation stats. I feel like Jerry Lewis. We are currently sitting at, ready? This is all you, Olivia. 222,312. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You have no idea of the impact you will have on the future of the Jewish people and the teens of our community. Thank you so much for your generosity.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we come to the close of our program, on behalf of my fellow JSUers, I want to encourage those who have not yet had the opportunity to donate to please help us strengthen our Jewish identity and knowledge through your gift. You can still donate on the right side of the viewing page or text GIVE to the number below. And remember, donations made tonight are matched, and you can get a special gift.
Olivia, thank you for co-hosting with me tonight. You were fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, please stay safe and healthy. Sophie, why don't you close out the evening for us all?
Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for your support of JSU. Have a good night and happy Hanukkah.